All that coming up. But first, when the Reverend Des Kitto needed money for repairs to save his church in Cardiff back in 2018, he enlisted the help of NHS worker Wayne Courtney and the artist Nathan Wyburn. Between them, they created something called Drag to Church, which is a Christmas show that's put on for the community, with drag acts strutting their stuff between the church pews to raise funds. Well, in a moment, we'll hear from them both. But first of all, let's hear about how the show has been bringing locals some festive cheer.
In 2018, we were desperate. We had pails around the church collecting the rain from the roof. And if you can't keep a place dry, you don't stand much chance of keeping it open.
Facing a £10,000 repair bill for the leaky roof, Des reached out for help and found a somewhat unexpected solution.
We went to Nathan and Wayne, who are very good friends of this church, and said, what can we do? Can you help us?
When you get the call from Des, you know that it's going to be, boys, we need fundraising. So we were sitting around thinking, OK, how can we do something totally outrageous to grab people's attention? Let's do a Christmas drag show.
And I said, well, fine, I've got no resistance to it at all, but we have to put it past the elders. And the elders accepted it immediately, because this church is open to everyone.
But now there's nowhere to hide.
The show was a hit and raised £2,000 in its first year.
It's just fun, and it's different, but it captures everything about Christmas. Community together in a church, singing, enjoying, and just having a fab time.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Because of the pandemic, they couldn't have an audience last year, but they still put on a spectacle for people to watch from home.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
This year, with COVID safety measures in place, the audience are due to be welcomed back, with tickets selling out in record time.
For a lot of people, this will be the first Christmas event that they've attended in 2 years.
Yeah.
I think people have missed it.
I've been to every single one of these shows, and I can honestly say they are absolutely brilliant. It brings happiness to people, and I wish it would just spread around the world like this.
The atmosphere of everybody being here with the drag artists is absolutely amazing. And they have raised so much money for us to keep this church going. I think it's going to be a fantastic night tonight.
Since filming in Cardiff, the Omicron variant has taken a firmer grip across the UK. But thankfully, the drag show at the start of December was able to go ahead.
Make some noise then, come on!
Last year was good, but it was missing that audience. So this year, I think it's going to be absolutely incredible.
It's nice that we can all connect as one big community and one big family, essentially.
This is a multitude of faiths, a multitude of backgrounds, a multitude of ethnicities. And the minute I walk through the door, everyone turns, smiles, makes me feel so welcome.
With so much uncertainty upon us again, it's not the festive season that many of us were hoping for. But in the darkest of times, by showing kindness to those around us, we can at least try to have a merrier Christmas. Kelsey Redmore, ITV News.
Well, let's head straight to the church, and very pleased to see that Nathan and Wayne can join us now. Nathan, first of all, I mean, we really get a sense watching that of what a fabulous show that is, and some of the reaction you've had from audiences. What has it been like?
It has been absolutely phenomenal. People break down in tears watching the show with pure joy. So it's just been incredible. And even after the shows and the fundraising and the money coming in, we've ended up having checks and letters from people just wanting to help. It's been absolutely phenomenal the past 4 years.
That's wonderful. I mean, going back to the very beginning, Nathan, a church really isn't a typical venue for any kind of performance like that. How surprised were you with how on board everyone's been with it, and I suppose how well it's done over the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, they're a pretty rock and roll church, though, to be fair. They are pretty awesome, but this was obviously a little bit more out there than anything we've suggested to put on in the church before. But they were very receptive, and then, like we said, the public, even more receptive. So it's been a phenomenal response, and the snowball is rolling, and hopefully it'll keep rolling.
Well, let's hope so. Wayne, if we could just ask, now we know performers throughout the pandemic, as with many other people, it's been a really, really hard time. How has the fundraising been going this year with all you've been able to do?
As soon as we were allowed to start putting on actual concerts again, it's been so well attended. You can see that people have been starved of interaction, live music, comedy, and you know they're just there to support anything right now. And we've had great attendances at everything, haven't we?
And Wayne, you know, we know that you work in the NHS and you see firsthand the very front line, the kind of pressures people have been going through. How have you and how have your colleagues been getting on?
Just as it's been all the way through, really. It's tough. I don't think there's been much let up, really, but take every shift as it comes and keep going, keep doing your best.
And that's one of the messages that really comes through, isn't it? Because both of you do a huge amount of fundraising in all kinds of different mediums. Nathan, we've talked to you before about this kind of thing. What kind of work has the fundraising you've done actually led to with the church? Because that was the initial aim, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I mean, aside from the concerts we've put on here, even this year, our holiday to Las Vegas got cancelled again. So we used our sin-in money to buy a horse box to turn into a coffee shop to save the church even more. So we've offered that to young volunteers, and they've got their first jobs here outside the church as well with a coffee shop. So we're trying to think of as many unique ways as possible to keep this going.
It really is a great use of the space and of bringing so many people in, as we saw in the feature just before we spoke to you. And this is part, Nathan, of an ITV programme that's going to be shown right across the UK this evening. What was it like during the filming for that and the whole experience of it?
It was quite tricky, actually, I'm not going to lie, because we had to control 12 drag queens, a drag king, large personalities, as well as ourselves, as well as a bar in the church, and then we had all these cameras running around. But it's an amazing experience, and the fact that people are interested in this positive story means the world to us, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, look, I'm sure people are in for a right treat, people who haven't seen it before, but will get a real taste of it in the programme later on. Nathan, Wayne, thank you very much. Absolutely. And best of luck with what's next.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you can see more on that story on the Tonight programme here on ITV. That's this evening at 7:30.